What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
What is the meaning of the Joker? What is the meaning of the symbolism in the new Joker film? Did you know that Nietzsche wrote a book called The Birth of Tragedy, and in The Birth of Tragedy he talks about the Apollonian and the Dionysian symbolism. And these are two gods that represent two polar opposite forces. The Apollonian being logos, light, reason, order, hierarchy. The Dionysian being licentiousness, abandon, perversity, chaos, saturnalia. These two forces are in dialectical tension in the dualistic Nietzschean type of scheme. The Christopher Nolan installments of Batman and the Joker featured this. And I think that from the occult or esoteric perspective, we can understand that these are seen as two equally opposing forces. That's especially apparent once again in the new Joker installment, as we see the Joker representing the garbage, the trash boys, the nasty people, the losers in society, the street folk, the ruffians, the outcasts, who then rise up against Master Wayne, right? Bruce Wayne's dad, who, by the way, is Skull and Bones. Did you know that in the original story, Bruce Wayne's dad is one of the founders of Skull and Bones? So here we have this oppositional dialectic between the Dionysian, Saturnalian, revolutionary anarcho-syndicalism of the bottom swell, the clown peeps, the clown troupe, the clown army, honk honk, who rebel against their Apollonian overlord, Master Wayne. Now, dark and light, good and evil, male, female, elite, poor, upper class, lower class. These are all set in dialectic. It's something that I talk about a lot. And I talk about it a lot because in, of course, orthodoxy, we know that those things are not actually in dialectical tension, but that after the fall, these things have been put into tension, and that this also spills over into the social sphere, and this is how we're manipulated. Right, problem, reaction, solution. This kind of manipulation happens all the time on multiple levels. And this brings to mind also the Masonic aspect of clowns. Did you know that there's a Masonic aspect to clowns? There's the Royal Order of Jesters. And did you know that they have long been involved in pimping hoes? Yes, they have. Look it up. And this, I think, suggests mind control, right? I mean, if they're pimping hoes, they're clowns, they're probably doing some cosplay, nasty cosplay. That's probably part of the mind control. There's been examples of this that have come out over the years in relationship to secret societies and occult orders. Now, in the last 4 years, for some reason, I haven't quite put my finger on it, but the clown meme, clowns have been everywhere. Remember about 4 years ago, you would see Chills talking in videos. Number 3, Slender Man. I hope that Slender Man is not real and that he is not going to get you. Number 4, Clouds. I bet you would be scared if you saw this creepy clown outside your house. Number 6. See, we've heard everybody from Chills to Stephen King to American Horror Story, a whole season of clown cult. There's other clown movies coming out, independent creeper clown movies I just saw trailers for today. And then we get the Joker. The Joker is a clown. I don't know why clowns are everywhere, except that people are figuring out, perhaps, that we are in honk honk world, aren't we? You can see, I'll leave a link below, by the way, to my honk honk world video, which I'm very proud of. Honk honk. But why is this a big deal? Why is this? Because it's nihilistic, right? The clown representing the Dionysian, representing the chaotic, representing the revolutionary anarchic forces that go against order, that go against reason, that go against logos. It speaks to our time. Nietzsche speaks to our time because, in a way, Nietzsche is nihilistic. Now, Nietzsche's nihilism is not necessarily equated with like a teenager full of angst who wants to just see the whole system burn down, man. That's not really what Nietzsche's after. Nietzsche actually thinks that, I believe there's evidence that Nietzsche had actually a more esoteric view, especially if we look at Thus Spake Zarathustra, if we look at his idea of eternal return and so forth, right? So in Nietzsche's mind, all of these battles are just cycles of history. History is nothing but a bunch of cycles of these two forces, Apollonian, Dionysian, rebellion and revolution versus order and tyranny, right? Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Now, the most fascinating aspect of the Joker film was that Master Wayne's story includes the Joker. The Joker, we think at least for a long time in the film, is the illegitimate offspring of Master Wayne. Basta Wade. Now, it could be debated, I would say, because the movie maybe leaves it a little bit open, right? I mean, Joker, spoiler alert, goes and checks out the records at the mental institute at Arkham Asylum, and the records at least read that perhaps he was adopted, but maybe not. Maybe this is not true. Maybe Master Wayne really is his father and the records are not accurate. I think maybe that's supposed to be up for debate. Perhaps he really is the illegitimate child, and that would suggest that even the billionaire trillionaire elite in the film are also corrupt, but that they've actually given birth to the enemy that they claim to want to fix and clean up. This would be, if we read it this way, would be a Gnostic reading of the fact that the demiurge, right, gives birth to and causes his opposing principle. And of course, Gnosticism is typically based on dualism. And there's nothing more Gnostic than this Apollonian, Dionysian symbolism, this positive, negative, oppositional forces that keep forever and never in eternal duality and eternal battle, right? You can never get higher than this in the secular mythology, in the occult mythology, in the Hollywood mythology and mysticism. It never goes beyond Gnosticism. It never goes beyond this form of necessary oppositions, right? Remember back when Heath Ledger was the Joker, when he was talking to Christian Bale, and he says, I am you, you are me. I'm your necessary opposite. He's like, I need you just like you need me. We're basically brothers. And this film has taken that to another level, kind of implying that perhaps they actually are actual brothers. Sort of like, I don't know, Jehovah's Witness type theology that Jesus and Lucifer are secretly angel brothers. But here, of course, Batman is represented. Batman hasn't come about yet, but this is the Joker's origin story, right? Batman represents eventually, of course, the forces of order, logos, and reason, and the Joker represents chaotic evil. Get out your figurines, get out your Magic the Gathering cards, and let's play some D&D, bro, because you just threw down a chaotic evil card, and I'm gonna have to counter you. By the way, if we think about Heath Ledger, and remember Jack Nicholson's bizarre claim that anyone that plays the role of the Joker is cursed, we'll have to watch and see what happens to Leaf Phoenix. Oh yes, did you know that he was once billed as Leaf Phoenix in the great film Space Camp? Go back and look up Space Camp and you'll notice here at IMDb he's actually called Leaf Phoenix before he was Joaquin Phoenix. But Heath Ledger, if we recall, met an early grave after playing the Joker. And let's not forget that in the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, notice there seems to be some weird pre-signifying going on with the character of Heath Ledger, which, by the way, we did cover recently when we did a Terry Gilliam stream. We covered Terry Gilliam's 12 Monkeys, Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, and more. But in that film, of course, Heath Ledger is covered in occult symbolism before he met his early demise, which is very fascinating. In fact, he even has the hangman's noose out of masonry. Once again, the Joker carnival imagery, the Royal Order of Jesters, tricksters, the cosmic joke, absurdism, right? There's an element, I would say, of Nietzschean philosophy when it does get into that kind of dark nihilism, where we look at the world, the universe, and this is where it verges on Gnosticism as well, and we say, hey, this is a cosmic joke, right? The Illuminatus trilogy, think of Robert Anton Wilson, right? The Church of the Subgenus, absurdism. Subgenius, absurdism. And I think that as Father Seraphim Rose wrote in his book on nihilism that I covered as well in 3 hours worth of talking and yapping, nihilism has stages. Nihilism is a logical dark progression, you could say, towards greater and greater and greater incoherency and chaos, and is ultimately kind of self-destructive. And so the reason the Joker is appealing, the reason the Joker is such a pop culture icon, is because I think people are basically seeing that this whole system is a fraud, and that therefore all that they've been told is a bunch of lies, and that therefore they can identify with this character who represents alienation, this character that represents nihilistic abandon. The universe is a cosmic joke. In fact, Joaquin Phoenix's character even says that. All my life has been nothing but a cosmic joke. I've never had a moment of happiness in my entire life. It's all been a lie. And every character that he looks up to, every authoritative father figure type character, and even outside of father figures like mother or girlfriend that he thinks he could perhaps relate to, they all are basically not real or in some way deceptive to him or lying to him or whatever. And so he sees all of the relations breaking down. So there's a kind of mental, social breakdown on the part of the Joker. However, wasn't it interesting that he didn't become the Joker and go batty until he stopped taking his meds? Is that a pro-med message, maybe? But it also makes me think of Guy Fawkes, right? It makes me think of, because everybody's wearing eventually in the revolutionary clique the clown masks, much like Warner Brothers had also done V for Vendetta, promoted the Guy Fawkes mask. So we get the idea of managed dialectics. In fact, in my Esoteric Hollywood 2, I did a whole chapter on V for Vendetta, and I didn't cover what you think I might cover. You might think, oh, well, you talked about, Evie as being initiated by V into esotericism. And okay, yeah, and I did mention that aspect of it, but what I actually talked about was corporate revolution. And why would big companies want to promote revolution? Well, that's because revolutions almost always have been funded by somebody wealthy, some corporation, some bank, some private interest, some NGO, some think tank. They're never organic, and that's what I think is the most important thing to see here. So the Joker represents nihilistic, hot topic level revolutionary anarcho-abandon, you see. And I think that the reason the media got so in a tizzy about the Joker was, as my friend Mark said, the degenerate elite appear to themselves be disgusted to look upon what they have created. So the monsters of society, the Juggalo army that's going to take over and overthrow Bruce Wayne, who is his dad is obviously given characteristics like certain presidents that might be noticeable if you paid attention. The overthrow of the establishment, the way I read this movie, is itself an establishment promoted agenda. So that's my take on the Joker. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Was Bruce Wayne's dad the Joker's dad or not? Were there clues I missed? You can enlighten me below in the comments. Be sure to like and share and subscribe. Also, you can get my book, Esoteric Hollywood 2. Been out since January, and it has extended chapters on these topics. Esoteric Hollywood 1 also, I cover some of these same themes, some of the symbolism, Dionysian, Apollonian symbolism in film. So be sure to check those out. Thank you for watching. If you like this analysis, be sure to click subscribe and give me a thumbs up down below. Also, be sure to check out Jay's analysis and definitely click the bell down below to be sure you get the updates.